So Ashley Cole announced his retirement in the Sky Sports studio at Chelsea at the weekend. And quite rightly, there were plaudits all around, with Graham Souness leading the call that Ashley Cole was quite simply the best left-back in the world in his pomp. However, Patrice Evra supporters feel that they have a strong claim, and when you look at the statistics of the two players, it's not actually a bad shout at all. So, a very sceptical Stephen Sidwell. if you were playing devil's advocate,
yeah,
Evra won more Premier League titles and more major club trophies. Less international caps, but you could argue he was in a more successful team.
Yeah, and obviously international caps and won a World Cup as well. No, yeah, you can. But for me, Ashley Cole, someone that I've grown up with, been in the Arsenal, a few years older than me in Arsenal's academy, going through, obviously getting a break, I suppose, at Arsenal through Silvinho happening to leave, and then grasping it with both hands, you know. Just what a player he's been, you know, throughout his whole career at the top level, on club stage and international stage as well. Just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And you look at what he's won: 5 FA Cups, 3 Premier Leagues, Champions League, Europa League, PFA Team of the Year. I mean, to be fair, there was a spell. I remember there was a spell when Evra was actually probably a better player than him. I think it was from maybe about 2007. I think it was when Ashley first went to Chelsea, maybe that year after that. From about 2007, 2010, about 3 years, Evra produced some good performances.
But over the duration?
Over the duration, week in, week out, for me, Ashley Cole all day long. And the worst thing is as well, is that his personality gets tarnished. You know, the person that he is got tarnished.
Only his public one, because everyone knows what a lovely lad he is
exactly,
in the game.
You know what he's like. You know, he's very quiet, very shy, very generous, does a lot of stuff with charities as well. But on the pitch, I mean, you look at his performances. I remember when he was at Chelsea and we used to play against Man United, and Ronaldo was obviously there and was what Ronaldo was in his pomp as well. And Coley would be on the bus with an iPad and he'd be watching clips of Ronaldo, inside, outside, and he'd be studying. How many times did you see Ronaldo get the better of Ashley Cole? Not many. You know, he was dedicated to his work. You know, Curtis had him to the back end of his career. He was just saying then how hard he worked at the back end of his career as well.
Yeah, he came in the building, 38-year-old, and lads are a bit awestruck to have a legend like that. Obviously, it's one thing having Frank Lampard as your manager, but to be playing alongside Ashley Cole for the lads was a massive lift, especially the young lads that we got in the team as well. But just working with him in training, it's like I said, he's 38 years old. He don't really need this, but he's one of the hardest workers. I've done a little drill with the fitness coach because I was coming back from my injury, and he was running me ragged. And this is a 38-year-old guy. It's just his intensity. That's what it is. His intensity, and you can tell why he has been at the very top for that long. Because, like I say, his intensity to train is every single session is serious. It's not, oh, I'm a bit achy today. He goes 100% every single session. And
great example.
Yeah, and I think that's what, like I say, that would have rubbed off on the younger lads, particularly, to see what he does every day.
I mean, we're talking about two top class players here at the very top level. And the general consensus is that over the career, Ashley had the upper hand. Yeah. But what's interesting is they're doing their coaching badges together now. Yeah, Do you think that they will be able to get the same tenacity and intensity from players they coached? Or, as they say, they don't make them like that anymore?
I think it's difficult because you're talking about a coach's personality then, in terms of their personality as a person rather than a player. And I know it sounds silly because, like we spoke about Lee Bowyer earlier, on the pitch, he used to be quite fiery and, you know, wanted to...
Quiet?
Yeah, well, fiery, fighting everyone, fighting his own teammates. Yeah. But off the pitch, he's quite calm, he's laid back. And that's what I'm saying. So what we see of Ashley Cole on the pitch and Evra on the pitch isn't necessarily what they like off the pitch. And it will depend how they want to adapt their personality onto their team. OK, I want to hit you with a few tweets, both of you. Jack Grealish should be included in the Maddison-Mount conversation. 6 chances created and an assist at the weekend. Future's looking bright for England. Should he be part of that conversation?
Not quite yet.
Good question.
Great question. Listen, great again. Another great great talent. You know, started off with his Premier League. Obviously, he's got that record that's going against him at the moment, isn't it? Is it 20 games that he's not had a win, which is just, you know, that's just ridiculous. But what he brings to the table is very similar to Mount and Maddison. Very similar.
I think if he plays in with all due respect, but if he played in England's side, I think we'd see the very best of him, because I think he's that player that, if he's allowed to be a bit more off the cuff and sort of roam around, he's a top player, as he showed in the Championship. But at Villa at the moment, they're not going to be a side that are going to have that much possession in games and things like that for him to just be able to stroll around and do what he wants. But he's a top quality player.
OK. Steve, what do you think of Graham Potter for Brighton, and how well do you think Brighton will do this season?
I think they've got off to a great start. I've been really impressed with him, not only on the training pitch from what I've seen, with the sessions that he's putting on, but also having a one-to-one conversation with him. The lads have took it all on board, considering the changes that's been made, and he's let the shackles off. I'm not trying to say that a cloud's been lifted, because what Chris Hughton done at Brighton was absolutely brilliant. But what he's done is he's just give them a bit of a lease of life to just really go out, express yourself, whilst keeping a disciplined, sort of tight ship at the back. But really impressive start. I think they'll do well this year.
What do you think of the start he's made?
Yeah, again, obviously speaking about Chris, I worked with Chris as well, and I know that Chris was more the type that, you know, especially with a Premier League team like Brighton, he'd defend first and then see if we can maybe nick one. And I think that's why maybe they ended up going a different direction with Potter, who's a progressive manager. And what I've seen so far, I've been really impressed, particularly to go to Watford and win 3-0. I don't think you often see many teams, even the top teams, go there and roll them over. So that was a really good start for him.
That was an incredible opening statement, was it?